I hate using the word potential, but like we're driving the ball and we had a fumble. You know what I mean? And the fumble right before the half, like little shit, that just got away from us. And it's week one. I'm not making excuses, but not everyone played perfect. Not everyone played the best version of themselves.
Divine Diablo could lose his starting position with the Las Vegas Raiders, and Amari the Ferrari Gainer could get his opportunity to become a star in the NFL. Plus, Maxx Crosby is out there defending his teammates, even the ones who didn't play very well. All that and more on today's episode of the Raider D Podcast. All right, Raiders and Raiderettes, here we go. It's going to be hot. It's going to be fast. We're going to be talking about this, and it's going to be about Divine Diablo to start. Divine Diablo had a really horrible outing last week against the Chargers. He was missing his gaps, literally lining up single file against Maxx Crosby, not filling the A gap, the B gap, any gap whatsoever. He was giving up big run plays and not making tackles. If Divine Diablo, who has had a lot of health issues since his reign with the Las Vegas Raiders and missed a lot of games, if he continues to play this way this week against the Baltimore Ravens, watch out. Lamar Jackson could put up 200 yards on the ground and 300 yards in the air. Because when it comes down to it, when you're facing a true dual threat quarterback like Lamar Jackson, your linebackers are absolutely key. And if they can't do their job, if they are suffering and getting beat and not making tackles and not filling the gaps the way that they're supposed to fill the gaps, then you're in big trouble. And this really means that Divine Diablo has to clean up his game. Whatever it was last week cannot transpire again this week. If it does, Amari the Ferrari Gainer, a guy who really showed out. He can play defensive end. He can play outside linebacker. He can play middle linebacker. He is a very versatile guy, and he showed out in the preseason, and he showed out in his practices in the offseason, impressing the coaches and making the 53-man roster. With that being said, is Amari the Ferrari Gainer ready to take over a starting position right now?
Amari Gainer, the rookie linebacker out of North Carolina.
Amari Gainer was all over that.
3 are right in the bunch, 2 are left. Quarterback sweep. Raiders are all over that.
I think it was Amari Gainer coming first in the backfield.
Maybe the way that he played, it certainly seems as though he's ready for the task, but that was up against second and third stringers. Will he be able to do the same thing that he did in the preseason, in the regular season, if Divine Diablo simply cannot get the job done this week and loses his starting position? Remember, it doesn't seem like Coach Antonio Pierce has much patience. He's said it over and over and over again. He's going to go with the guy who's got the hot hand, who's playing well. Doesn't matter who you are, what your salary is, or where you were drafted. So Divine Diablo's got the starting position for right now, but he could quickly lose that position at any moment if he plays poorly in this game against the Baltimore Ravens. Let me know your guys' thoughts on that. Should Amari the Ferrari Gainer be the starter at that outside linebacker position lined up next to Spillane, or should Divine Diablo get a couple more games to really see if he's going to be bad or if he can clean up his mistakes? Now, moving on to Maxx Crosby. In a recent podcast interview, he was defending.
I hate using the word potential, but like you see the potential in what we did. Like if you look at Gardner's numbers, like Gardner was playing good football. It's just a couple good, a couple moments they made a couple plays and we didn't capitalize, you know what I mean? And then we're driving the ball and we had a fumble, you know what I mean? And the fumble right before the half, like little shit, that just got away from us. And 100% I believe in Garner. I believe in Zamir. I believe in all those guys. And everyone in this building believes in those guys. And on the defense side, it's the same thing. Like not everyone played perfect. Not everyone played the best version of themselves, but it is week one. I'm not making excuses, but we have a brand new OC. We have a new quarterback. We got new O-linemen, new weapons. Like it takes time. If a couple things went our way, a couple things, went more in our way this game, we could have won that game. You know what I mean? I felt like it never felt like we were out of the game ever. It never felt like we were going to lose. Like I thought we were going to win 100%. But we just, they made a couple more plays than us.
His offensive teammates in Gardner Minshew, in Zamir White, and that whole offense, And he was saying, it's a new OC, it's a new quarterback, and new running back. It's going to take time for them to gel. He's not making excuses. If it were not for a couple of bad plays, the Raiders absolutely could have won that game. And he's right about that. If it wasn't for the turnovers, the unnecessary sacks, or the fact that Gardner Minshew had the lowest air rating, which means his passes were under 5 yards per pass. It was like 4.3, 4.4 air yards per pass. Not the yards picked up after the receiver catches the ball, but what he actually threw was a bunch of tiny little check down passes. Now, part of this is the game plan that Luke Getsy put together. The other part of it is the offensive line was simply atrocious, including Thayer Munford, including our center, Andre James. These guys had horrible PFF ratings. Thayer Munford's PFF rating for run blocking was a 40. A 40. Like, this is the worst in the NFL. And so this is another change that could be taking place. If Thayer Munford continues to struggle at right tackle, you could see DJ Glaze get a shot, because why not? DJ Glaze is bigger, stronger, more athletic than Thayer Munford. Doesn't have the experience that Thayer Munford has, but what does experience matter if you can't run block? If you have the worst PFF rating in all of football when it comes to run blocking. Now, his passing blocking was a little bit better. I think he was up in the 70 percentile, somewhere around there. But at right tackle, you have to be able to run block. If you cannot run block, then there is no point in you being there. Now, granted, he is going up against one of the best defensive ends, and Khalil Mack and Bosa, but it doesn't matter. You're in the NFL too. You're a pro. You're a starter. You've got to do better, Thayer Munford. With that being said, Andre James looked terrible. Cody Whitehair looked terrible. Even Colt Miller looked terrible in that game. Hopefully the offensive line can get it cleaned up, and if they do, then Gardner Minshew should be able to have a better time of getting the ball down the field. He cannot rely on these check down passes. And I noticed in last week's game that when you start getting hits and pressure on him, he gets really quick to check down the ball. And this is just not going to work. He's the starter for a reason, and it's supposed to be because of his mobility. If he's not going to be mobile, then why is he out there? So Maxx Crosby defending his guys, I totally understand it, but at the end of the day, you can make excuses for your teammates all you want. If your teammates are just bad, your teammates are just bad. If they suck, they just suck. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below. Like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Goodbye.